Welcome to our news and thank you for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. Topping news tonight, a Bahamian man recently diagnosed with cholera has been discharged from hospital. Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville had an update on the case.
That particular situation is fully under control. To my understanding, the individual has been discharged and there has been no additional cases presenting to any of our public or private institutions. So it was obviously an isolated case.
Now, last Thursday, the Ministry of Health revealed the Bahamas has recorded its first case of cholera since 2017. The ministry said the case involved a 52-year-old man who had no recent travel to Haiti, where there is an outbreak of the disease. The case prompted health officials to beef up patrols and local facilities.
I want to commend all of our experts from the Department of Public Health, our surveillance unit, all of the necessary government ministries, and it shows that we are ready and we are prepared to handle the situation, whatever presents in the country. So that particular case is resolved.
More than 1,000 monkeypox vaccines are now in country. A batch of 1,400 doses arrived on a British Airways flight this afternoon. Now, the Ministry of Health has been in talks with PAHO about acquiring these vaccines since early summer. On hand for the arrival was Ministry of Health and PAHO officials.
The reason why the amount is so small compared to what you would have heard for COVID is because it's not going to be rolled out the same way. It's not a mass vaccination campaign. It's for persons who are suspected to have been exposed. So basically, it's a good thing that they are here. We need them to be here in case they're needed. But it's kind of like insurance. We actually hope that the country never has to use them.
Inflation is continuing to impact just about every sector you can think of, one of them the pharmaceutical industry. In this report, our Jamila Mizik tells us how local pharmacies are trying to keep costs down at the counter.
Like many other major industries, the pharmaceutical industry is also feeling the pinch of global inflation. That's according to Bahamas Pharmacy Association President Shantia McBride. And if that's not bad enough, she says the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a shortage of some medications.
There's been increasing costing of getting some medication. And due to that, pharmacy has been able to work with those differences happening and still provide medication that is absolutely needed for our industry. So we definitely dealt with the inflation and we are making it work for our consumers.
McBride says pharmacies across the country are trying their best to maintain affordable pricing for meds.
There's some companies that are offering also selective pricing options. The amount of supply you may be able to get or other discounts. Each pharmacy has its own policy management for their financing and pricing.
While their efforts continue, McBride says it's also important for consumers to speak with their local pharmacist to find ways to better afford their medication.
So that we can work together in ensuring that you remain compliant with your medication and therefore your health care will also be maintained.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jamila Mizik.
Thanks for that report, Jamila. Mostly cloudy skies outside the Our News studio this evening. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with our current conditions. Greg?
Thanks, Natalia, and happy Monday evening, everybody. A nice and beautiful evening on the outdoors if you have outdoor plans. Temperatures are in the low 80s right now, 83 degrees outside our studios with a few clouds. Your winds are out of the east at 7 miles per hour, and factoring the relative humidity, it feels like a comfortable 85 degrees on the outdoors. Satellite view, upper level low spinning to the east of the Bahamas will continue to track back towards the east. We did have some thunderstorms popping up across South Florida that spread some high level clouds across the area, but the ridge of high pressure at the surface is dominating our weather, keeping us rather dry. There is a frontal boundary that we expect to get near by Wednesday, Thursday time frame, so we're looking for some changes in our weather by the end of the week. That's a quick check on our weather. Stick with us. A look at the tropics and your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News, the woman police believe is responsible for the murder of British expat Marcus Hinsby is arraigned in court. The details straight ahead. A plane skids off the runway in Black Point, Exuma. We will tell you what we know so far. And later, Register Review. The Prime Minister is set to meet with grocery retailers tonight as fears of store closures loom. That's coming up when Our News returns. Flamingo Air flight with 11 people on board had a dramatic landing earlier this afternoon in Black Point, Exuma. Our news team attempted to contact air accident officials as well as officials from Flamingo Air, but they were unreachable up to airtime. But sources tells our news the accident appears to be the result of the left landing gear collapsing when the almost 55-year-old Beechcraft 99 plane came in for a landing around 4 p.m. this afternoon. Whatever the cause of the failure was, it had enough of an impact to seemingly send the plane off the runway and into bushes. We've heard of no reported injuries. It's a story that we will continue to follow. Well, an afternoon walk taking a grisly turn for one Grand Bahama resident who police say found a decomposing body in bushes near a secluded beach on Sunday. The discovery comes as two remain missing on that northern island. Acting Deputy Commissioner of Police Theophilus Cunningham describing the gruesome scene where he says police found a man wearing a multicolored underwear. The area was cordoned off as police processed the scene and the body later taken to the Rand Memorial Hospital.
The head was facing the western direction and the feet facing east. Because of the severely decompositional state of the body, we are unable to determine a positive ID at this time. However, an autopsy will be performed to determine the exact cause of death.
Given the state of the decomposition, the Deputy Commissioner could not confirm whether foul play is suspected. This discovery comes as police in Grand Bahama are investigating two missing persons cases. The first, a woman from the inner city, and the other, a 17-year-old boy from 8 Mile Rock. And while Cunningham could not say if police suspect the body could be one of the missing people, he's asking for the public's help in solving those cases. The 31-year-old woman accused of the murder of Cable Bahamas executive Marcus Hinsby making her first court appearance this afternoon. Felicia Bonamy was not required to enter a plea to the murder charge when she appeared before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt. Police went to Hinsby condominium at the Veneto Gated community in Westridge Estates around 5 p.m. on September 24th to conduct a welfare check after he failed to show up at work. Hinsby, a 58-year-old British national, was employed as a technical accounts manager at Cable Bahamas. Police met the condo locked after they were let in by the property manager. The officers found Hinsby dead with multiple stab wounds. Bonnaby, who is represented by Resard Holmes, has been denied bail. The Southwind Close resident is next due to a prayer in court on December 13th. Two men are facing a murder charge in connection with the shooting of Andre Varakis in South Abaco. Billy Antoine and Theophilus Lloyd, who are both 35, did not have to enter a plea to the charge when they appeared before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt. According to initial reports, shortly after 11 p.m. on September 29th, officers from the Sandy Point police station went to Cross Rocks to investigate reports of gunshots. When they arrived, they found Kiki Varakis dead behind a business with multiple gunshot wounds to the body. In court, both accused killers said they were afraid for their lives and asked to be put in protective custody in the prison. Lloyd said he was in New Providence when the murder happened, but police still charged him, although he provided video to prove his location. Antoine disrupted police claims that the pair acted together by saying that he did not know Lloyd. Ferguson Pratt made note of the concerns and remanded them to the Bahamas Department of Corrections. Now, their next court date is December 8th. A teen and 5 men were arrested over last week for allegedly breaching court-ordered electronic monitoring conditions. The men, who ranged from age 17 years old to 31 years old, were arrested by officers from the Electronic Monitoring Unit between October 9th and October 15th. Police say they will be arraigned in the magistrate's court this week. Police Commissioner Clayton Fernandez has promised a crackdown on bail violators. During the September 20th press conference, Fernandez revealed police had charged 38 people for breaching their bail conditions. Also last month, 5 men, including a teen, were arrested and taken to court for allegedly violating their bail conditions. Police tells us the men are being monitored after charges of murder, attempted murder, armed robbery, and attempted armed robbery. Now, Prime Minister Philip Davis is set to meet with Retail Grocers Association of the Bahamas tonight after grocery store retailers spoke out against the decision to add 38 new items to the price control list. The association told a local daily its members will not implement the changes today, adding that some would be forced to start layoffs and store closures, while the Prime Minister says he hopes they partner with the government. Now, we will have that soundbite from the Prime Minister in a later newscast. Now, the Minister for Grand Bahama is speaking out against a recent fuel hike by that island's power company, saying the move came with no warning. This, as the Prime Minister says, his administration is committed to fighting for residents in the face of added costs. Berthany McDermott has the details.
The Grand Bahama minister is against the Grand Bahama Power Company's recent decision to increase the fuel cost by 1.5% effective November 1. Moxie says it's a decision that caught her off guard.
This time there was no notice, and so it makes it even more surprising. And so again, I'm with the people of Grand Bahama who are working so hard to recover from Dorian, from the pandemic. And so I'm not happy right now. But we will continue to work hard to provide an environment where people can really begin to recover.
Moxie acknowledged that there's never a good time for an increase, especially considering many are still struggling post-Dorian and COVID-19. The GBPA made the announcement last week saying the increase is a direct reflection of the rise in global oil prices over the year. We also put the matter to Prime Minister Philip Davis.
We'll continue to work and fight for them, and hopefully relief will come soon.
The move by the GBPA comes after BPL2 hit consumers with an increase as of October, but the power company also implementing measures like taking VAT off power bills under $400 to cushion the blow.
Same that was done for New Providence will be extended to Grand Bahama, and so that's really what we're doing. We're just trying to find ways for people to be able to survive. We've been taking a lot of different measures in that regard. We've been providing all sorts of relief opportunities. We've also, personally, I've introduced a beautiful Grand Bahama project that has employed those who haven't worked in 3 years.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
When our news comes back from the break, it's already shaping up to be an exciting Junkanoo season, and now one group is getting the funding to show out on Bay Street. We'll tell you which A group is celebrating tonight.
Plus, in sports tonight, we'll tell you how the plans are being made for the 2022 Alive Beach Soccer Cup. The softball championships underway in the New Providence Softball Association, and Catholic Primary Schools basketball, they're going strong. That's all coming up in sports.
Is a cold front on the way? Well, our Greg Thompson is back in the Weather Center when our news returns. This is our news. Welcome back. More than 3 years after 2 Bahamians reportedly drowned in Italy, the government has yet to receive the complete report into the investigation, according to Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell. Mitchell said the promise of the entire report was made last year.
They had promised that within weeks of our departure, the entire file of their investigation would be turned over to us so that we could have our own police officers and forensic people look at the file to see if there was anything they had missed or had been re-examined. We've been seeking to follow that up, and it's simply not happened. And the reason why I'm particularly annoyed is because these countries in the EU are constantly barraging and trying to beat the Bahamas with a stick over one thing or the other that they've not produced. And on this very simple thing that they're asking them, they can't seem to get it done.
Now, the bodies of 29-year-old Alray Ramsey and 28-year-old Blair John were found in the river Turin back in June 2019. Ramsey was a foreign service officer at the time and John a psychology PhD student. Now, when asked what will be the next step, Mitchell said this.
We don't have military might or economic clout. It's just name and shame. They're supposed to be an honorable country, and we expect them, if their judicial authorities say, and if their government says, we will turn over the file, we expect them to turn over the file. There's no harm done in turning over the file. Just let us have a look at what the file says.
The Junkanoo Group is the recipient of a $200,000 donation thanks to the Bahamas Striping Group of companies. They will receive $50,000 each year over the next 4 years, Roots Chairman Wendell Guts Francis expressing gratitude for the timely donation. He says due to inflation over the past few years, the donation will go a long way.
As you know, we are non-profit organizations, so we seek sponsorship wherever we can find it, and that also helps us get to Bay Street. Of course, the government partners with us with a couple of $30,000. That is probably just a tip of the iceberg. These organizations can spend up to $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 for these two parades, believe it or not. And most of that is financed from the membership of these groups. The membership put in probably more than half the monies that we get. You see those costumes and those performances and drums and horns on Bay Street. So we really, this is a great opportunity for us to now partner with Bahamas Striping.
Now, this is not the first time the Junkanoo Group has received a donation from the company. Vice Chairman Dwayne Bear Ellis shares how the funds have been used.
We've had a scholarship program that we created out of the funding that we got. We've had 8 persons that have graduated from college, and we have 2 medical doctors. It's not a lot of money, but it's what we do with the little that we have. And as simple as buying airline tickets for students going back to school and a little book drive and a little support. We just want to say thank you and let you know that the funds that you actually donated to us, it's not only for Bay Street. We had a food program. During the COVID, we had a lot of members who were not working, so what we did was the Roots Food Bank.
While the Catholic primary school's basketball season gets underway, meanwhile, the Hitmen and Wildcats takes Game 1 as the New Providence Softball Association Championships get started. Marcellus Hall is now with a check on sports. Marcellus?
All right, thanks, Natalia. Welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. The beach soccer stadium has been sitting kind of dormant for the last few years or so, as a matter of fact. That's about to change this coming weekend, as the 2022 Alive Beach Soccer Cup will take place Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at that very same venue. A number of nations will be in town, including host team Bahamas, who will be looking to see if they can defend the home soil. Let's take a look at that, and also have the Catholic Primary Schools Basketball Championships underway. Lots of activities over the course of the weekend, starting on Friday with Catholic Primary Schools basketball, and they got their season started at Loyola Hall. Tons of games being played, much to the delight of fans and players alike. Girls and boys seeing action on the first day of competition. We'll continue to monitor them as the season progresses. Meanwhile, action continued in the New Providence Softball Association as their championship series got underway at the Bankers playing field on Saturday evening. Men's game saw the Hitmen taking Game 1 of the series there to take a 1-0 lead. Hitmen now looking to increase that lead when the series continues on Wednesday. On the ladies' side, the RAB operators taking on defending champion Sunshine Auto Wildcats. Wildcats in the gold tops. And they would go ahead to take Game 1 of this series as well, looking to also go up 2-0. It is a best-of-5 series. Championship action continues on Tuesday night, once again over at the Bankers Fields. As for volleyball is underway. The New Providence Volleyball Association, they played some games over the weekend. In fact, the season getting started on Sunday with a slew of games on the agenda. 2 games after the opening ceremonies, starting with the men's matchup. They played first up, and the defenders trying to get things going with their season. And they would take on the Warhawks. Warhawks getting the win. 5 sets over the defenders here.
19-25, 25-27, 25-18, 23-25, and 15-12 ends up being your set scores. As for the ladies matchup, not shown here, but the defending champions Panthers winning in 3 straight sets over Bamboo Shack Lady Warhawks 25-21, 25-19, and 25-15. Those end up being your set scores there.
And that is your check on sports for you here on Monday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you, Italia.
We're more than halfway through October, but where are the cooler temperatures while your extended weather outlook is coming up when Our News returns. Welcome back to Our News. Partly sunny skies, cloudy skies ahead this week, but will temperatures cool off? Greg Thompson is back in the Weather Center with your extended outlook. Greg?
Thanks again, Natalia, and welcome back, everybody, for a quick final check on weather. Across our area, we do have a high-pressure ridge at the surface that's continuing to dominate our weather. Quiet across our area. We had a couple of isolated thunderstorms across South Florida that brought some high-level clouds across the area, but nothing in terms of any rainfall. That ridge will slide out towards the east and away from us. There's a front now across North Florida, actually. It's going to be getting down here sometime by Wednesday, Thursday time frame. Behind that, a nice change in the air mass. At least the northwest Bahamas should get some nice cooler temperatures as that front sides towards the south should stall across the central Bahamas by the weekend. Maybe a couple isolated showers with that, but all in all, we are starting to see those fronts get into our area. The tropics, quiet. We had 11 named tropical storms for the season already, and average is about 14, and the tropics remaining quiet. A couple of waves out there, but nothing really organized at this time. Boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight to tomorrow. Your winds will be at the south to southwest at 10 to 15 knots ahead of that front. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Low tide will be at 8:51 tonight for the southeast Bahamas. A southeast to southerly flow at 10 knots. Your seas will be running 1 to 3 feet over the open waters, and they will fall light and rebel at times late tonight to tomorrow. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your 7-day planner, that frontal boundary expected to get near sometime by Wednesday, Thursday time frame, as I mentioned. Isolated showers until then, and then we pick up increase in shower chances by Thursday, but behind that, those temperatures will take a little bit of a dip. So as I mentioned, the northwest Bahamas expected to see some nice temperatures. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe evening, everybody.
All right, sounds good, Greg. Thank you, and thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Italia Hall. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.